Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are very pleased to welcome all of our guests and all of our student community engagement scholars and their families, our colleagues across campus, and our community partners who've been able to join us today. My name is Laurel Hurt. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the director of the Center for Community Engaged Learning, as well as one of the co-founders who spearheaded the creation of this program, which today we launched this program 20 years ago this past spring. So we'll be graduating our 20th class next year. So you all are our 19th class of scholars. Tonight we are going to be celebrating 27 graduating scholars, and yay. We have doubled since last year. So as we gather to celebrate our community engagement in the spirit of reflection, you're going to hear a lot about reflection as it's a feature of our program. I'd like to take a moment to situate us in this time and place by sharing our office's land acknowledgement statement and purpose. The Center for Community Engaged Learning acknowledges that the University of Minnesota Twin Cities occupies lands included in the 1805, 1837, and 1851 treaties between the United States government and the sovereign Dakota Nation. Due to the U.S. government's failure to uphold any of these treaties, these lands we sit on still rightfully belong and legally belong to the Dakota people. The Dakota are the only people indigenous to this place, and they have maintained a spiritual connection to and physical presence in it throughout history to the present day as part of our Twin Cities' vibrant Native American community. We have two main reasons for making this statement. First, as members of a scholarly community dedicated to furthering knowledge, we recognize an obligation to know the history of our own institution and of the geographical area in which we are situated. Second, as practitioners and advocates of community engagement, we see the events of the past continuing to play out today in the vast racial inequities plaguing our state in every issue our work addresses: housing, healthcare, education, environmental quality, and more. Knowing Minnesota's colonial history can help deepen our understanding of systemic racism and historical trauma as root causes of current social realities, enabling us to work more effectively for greater equity. Before we officially begin, I would like to appreciate those who have been instrumental in planning and organizing today's event. In addition, I would like to honor those who have supported and continue to support this program. Excuse me. When I call the name of your specific group, feel free to identify yourself either by raising your hand or standing up, whatever's comfortable. Administrators and employees of the University of Minnesota who support our office. That's you. U of M faculty who instruct our scholars in community engaged learning and community engaged research courses. Mary, it's also you. Community partners who work in collaboration with our scholars. Special and big shout out to my team, the Center for Community Engaged Learning staff, Jess Proskin, Maddie Ballas, Christopher George, Ann Carter, Bruce McGuire, David Holliday, I think David's out there, and our Omer Mintha, Lancha Tartuf, Samantha Laughley, and Maya, whose last name I just missed. So forgive me. Also, I want to briefly mention our former colleague, Monica McKay, who unfortunately passed away 51 days ago, who has been involved with this program since its inception. So this group of folks make this program possible, an event possible. Maddie, our wonderful event planner as well. You will see her running around taking photos here. CESP Leaders Board members, which support the Scholars Program and Scholars Program's growth. I know there's a few of you in here. Where are you? Yeah. Wave! Not sure anyone is in here of this group, but our advisory board members who support the Scholars Program, the Scholars Program growth. I think everyone was not able to join us tonight. And friends and family, this is most of the group here. Friends, families, friends, siblings. Thank you so much for being here today. And also, of course, the reason we're all here, we cannot forget our current scholars who are graduating the 2024-25. Raise your hands, everyone, if this is you. So, as we celebrate this inspirational group of scholars, I'm excited to collectively share that these students have contributed more than 15,500 hours of community engagement over their time in college, completed 168 reflections on their community engagement work, have taken at least 272 credits of community engaged learning and research courses. Students have also worked with at least 100 different organizations locally, nationally, and globally during the program and throughout the summers. And there are 10 students in our program who are also graduating as part of the University Honors Program today. So I now welcome my colleague, Jess Proskin, Assistant Director of Student Advising and Programs, to introduce the main reflections, themes, and our student speakers. Jess.
Here's what we'll be doing today. We did this one. This is me. All right. Well, thank you, Laurel. Hello, everyone. My name is Jess Proskin, and I use she, her pronouns. And I am lucky to have been the instructor for all 5 sections of CESP 3901 this past year. This experience allowed me the opportunity to get to know each scholar individually and get to support them through creating and implementing their integrative community engagement project, which is one of the final requirements of the CESP program. In addition to this class each week was filled with thoughtful reflections, engaging conversations about many social justice topics, and community engagement. As Laurel said, one of the requirements of the Community Engagement Scholars Program is that students complete 400 volunteer hours or community engagement hours. The numbers that you just shared, Laurel, I am in awe of each and every one of you. You not only completed the 400 plus hours, many of you doing many more than the 400-hour requirement, but in addition to this program, you're full-time students here at the U of M, and you have many other commitments in your lives. Furthermore, beyond completing these engagement hours, the students are required to complete 6 reflections throughout their time in the program. The aim of these reflections is to help the scholars to think critically about their identities, their community engagement, and the experiences between the two. This evening, we're going to highlight these 6 unique themes that serve as the foundation of this program. We're lucky to have several students from different sections who have prepared remarks to share with you about their experiences in CESP. And each of these speeches will incorporate one or more of the reflection themes. We're going to begin our evening with hearing from Salwa, who is a graduating scholar this year. Tonight, she is going to discuss the theme of ethic of engagement, which asks students to think about, what does engagement mean to you? And why do you engage in the community? I invite you up now, Salwa.
Hello, everybody. Come on, that's not the energy. What's going on?
Hi, Salwa.
Hey. Hello, everyone. My name is Salwa Mahmood. I'm a senior majoring in biology, society, environment with a minor in leadership on the pre-dental track. So, hoping to be a dentist one day. If y'all need dental work, you can hit me up in a couple of years. But besides that, I'm hoping to apply to dental school this coming cycle. So wish me luck, please. But it's truly an honor to be standing here today before you today as a community engagement scholar and also a first-generation college student, representing not only my own journey, but the hopes, sacrifices, and resilience of my family and community. Throughout my 4 years, I've learned how to navigate spaces that often weren't built with us in mind, while carrying the weight of dreams bigger than me. For me, it meant being the translator, the bridge, and the example all at once. But it also meant strength, perseverance, and purpose. See, I come from a family that taught me education is not just about a personal achievement, but it's also about giving back to the community. That's exactly why I joined the Community Engagement Scholars Program. This program has provided me the chance to connect with others, serve in meaningful ways, and grow through real experience, not just in classrooms, but out in the community. Community engagement isn't just an extracurricular activity, it's a responsibility. It's a recognition that our success is richer when we use it to lift and be in community with others. I've engaged in 400 hours of community service, participated in reflective workshops, and completed a senior project with the President Emerging Scholars Program, shout out to y'all, all aimed at addressing social issues and community needs. As I reflect on my time throughout the program, all of these components have been instrumental in my personal growth. I've been able to critically analyze my experiences, understand the systemic roots of social inequalities, and identify ways to contribute to a more just and equitable society. To my fellow students in the CESP 3901 and also those who are graduating today from the CESP Scholars Program, your voice and story are invaluable. I urge you to continue using your talents and passion to serve others, recognizing that our collective efforts can lead to a meaningful change. To my mentors within the President Emerging Scholars Program, the Multicultural Center for Academic Excellence, and many other programs, thank you for your unwavering belief in my potential. Your support has been a beacon throughout my undergraduate journey, and I can't thank you enough. To my family, whose unwavering support and sacrifices have laid the foundation for my journey, this achievement is as much yours as it is mine. As we move forward, let's continue to build bridges, challenge barriers, and plant seeds for those who will follow. Thank you.
Now you can see why we don't talk about the reflection games. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and for your participation in the program and your impact on the community. Next, we are going to hear from Amber. Amber will be sharing her thoughts and experiences related to the reflection theme of sense of self. In this reflection, students explore what lies behind their values and aspiration, what forms the core of who they are, and how these things intersect with community engagement.
Try not to hit any buttons while I'm up here. Hi everybody, my name is Amber Finley. I graduated in the fall of 2024 with a major of Applied Economics and a minor in Leadership, and I will be headed to law school in the fall to pursue agricultural law. and I am so grateful to be here today and for the honor to speak. And I would like to first just thank everybody who has played a part in the CESP program. Thank you to everybody who runs this program and all of the community engagement faculty and community scholars and partners that help us have all these opportunities. So if we could just give them one more round of applause. It is truly an honor to stand here today as a part of the Community Engagement Scholars Program and surrounded by all of my peers who have all made service a central part of their journey. This evening, I wanted to reflect on the theme of sense of self, because in this program we have talked about and we will talk about community, leadership, and change, but none of that can really happen, and it's not meaningful unless we understand who we are and why we choose to serve. Sense of self means more than just knowing your background or your goals. It's a holistic awareness of your identity and, more importantly, how you live that identity every day and how you make choices not just as a student, but in every single community that you belong to. For me, sense of self has always been rooted in agriculture, but more specifically in the urgency and anxiety that define it. I grew up in a small rural town of about 400 people where service wasn't optional. It was a necessity. It was survival. In farming, there are about 5 months out of the year that determine your family's livelihood. April and May mark planting season, where you have to get upwards of 1,000 acres into the ground before an insurance deadline, something that explains why my parents couldn't be here today. Then comes September through November, harvest season. Missing just 1 week out of these pivotal months can determine whether or not you're able to feed your family for the next year. That kind of pressure is constant and it's suffocating. There's this unbearable tension between the responsibility to feed the world and the knowledge that you might not be able to feed your own family. It creates an anxiety that starts in the spring and doesn't go away until the fields turn black in the fall. That is the environment I grew up in, one where service wasn't born out of leisure or charity, but from necessity. That's why when a local farmer couldn't harvest his crop, our entire community stepped in. We'd harvest our own crops, then later towards the night, we'd all go over there, combine, truck, and run grain carts because we knew what it was like to be on that edge. That moment showed me what collective action rooted in urgency and compassion could truly do. It also showed me that service isn't comfortable. Oftentimes it's hard and it's messy, but it's how we survive together. That small farming town didn't just shape what I believe in, it shaped how I serve. I learned to pay attention to those quiet, systematic challenges that rural communities face on a daily basis. Financial instability, environmental risk, lack of legal representation. These aren't just abstract issues, they were coming to fruition within my own community and within myself. But that journey always hasn't been linear. In fact, like many of us here, I spent a long time building the bike while I was riding it. I graduated high school as valedictorian, participated in 19 extracurriculars, and finished my undergraduate degree in 2.5 years. And that all sounds good and it might look good on paper, but as many of you might relate to this, it all came at a cost. It was missed friendships, missed time with family, and there was fewer chances to connect more deeply to all the communities I was a part of. I've learned through the Community Engagement Scholars Program that striving for impact doesn't mean pushing yourself to the edge. In fact, the best service happens when we give ourselves space to listen, to grow, and to reflect, which was what the Community Engagement Scholars Program gave us the opportunity to do. And that is truly the heart of sense of self. It's not static, it evolves, it deepens, and it learns from its mistakes. My rural identity taught me resilience, but it also taught me humility. It taught me to listen, but also when to speak. It taught me that there are sometimes hard conversations that are difficult but necessary about equity, justice, and representation. And as we leave this program and step into new chapters, I want to leave each of you with this. You all have a unique sense of self. It's an identity shaped by where we come from, who we serve, and what we value. And it's our greatest tool. Use it. Let it guide you into rooms where hard conversations need to happen. Let it give you the courage to ask better questions and listen more deeply, because community engagement isn't about having the answers. It's about showing up with your whole self, willing to learn, and being yourself alongside others. Congratulations to each and every one of you for the work you have done and the people that you have become. Thank you.
Amber, thank you so much for speaking tonight and for telling us so much about how you grew up, how that impacted you, and how that impacted your engagement journey. It's truly been inspiring to get to know you. Before we hear from our other speakers, we are going to begin recognizing some of our graduating scholars. We will start with the Fall 2024 Capstone Seminar students. This fall, we had 2 sections of CESP 3901, which, like I said, is the capstone for this program. In CESP 3901, we spend a lot of time discussing the people, experiences, opportunities, and events in our lives that have shaped who we've become today. We also spend a lot of time reflecting on our past and current community engagement experiences. I learned so much from these groups of students during our time together in the fall. I appreciate the dedication you all had to showing up each week with a positive attitude and ready to engage in the activities we had planned. I know we were tired some days, but we made it work. You always brought a level of enthusiasm and excitement to class. Furthermore, I always appreciated your commitment to social justice and to creating a space where we could question the systems and structures in society that lead to injustices in an effort to work towards finding solutions to complex problems. I now welcome Laurel back to the podium, and we will also have David Wirtz, the Associate Vice Provost for Public Engagement, come forward to help us recognize our fall students.
Fall 2024 students, please come and line up to the right of the stage by Christopher. We're going to ask you to come together as a group. After you receive your medal, you will be crossing the stage here and we'll then have a group photo taken. So I will be reading your names. So please listen for your name and come forward to receive your certificate. David will put your medal on you, then you will pose for a brief photo. So, Hannah Olson. Yep, the photo's right there. Oh, right. Anna Johnson. Not with us tonight is Echo Nelson. Jillian Pete. Jillian, where are you? Ashley Daniels. And Amber Findlay. Okay, let's now take a moment to celebrate all of our scholars who took the Capstone Seminar this fall. Congratulations to all of you. Okay. All right. Collaboration and community building is the next reflection that requires scholars to get together with their peers for various events to learn more about particular issues, such as environmental justice, disability justice, the role of mentors, social determinants of health, issues of systemic racism that have shaped the Twin Cities, opportunities to participate in AmeriCorps programs. We may or may not have that opportunity moving forward, and participate with Serve Minnesota. One of the main reasons we host these events is to give scholars the opportunity to reflect together and learn from one another. I now welcome Lily Kukin to share her reflections on the theme of collaboration and community building. One aspect of this reflection is seeing each other as collaborators, resources, and partners with the broad common goal of having an impact in the community around us. Lily.
Hi everyone, I'm Lily. Thank you for the introduction. I'm a graduating CESP scholar and a product design student. Firstly, I'd like to extend my sincere thank you to all the CESP staff for their dedication to making this program worthwhile, and to congratulate all of my fellow scholars on their hard work and accomplishments. Through CESP, we've all spent time figuring out what collaboration and community building means to us within the context of community service. As both a CESP student and a product design student, I've had a unique opportunity to explore the intersection of these two realms, which has turned out to also intersect heavily with collaboration and community building. For those of you who don't know, product design is the practice of creating thoughtful, user-centered physical products, from everyday items like kitchenware and furniture to complex systems like electronics and medical equipment. We possess the skills to conceptualize and communicate new product ideas through sketching, prototyping, and CAD modeling. Though product design is heavily interdisciplinary, combining engineering, design, business, and psychology, it is inherently user-centered, meaning we look to people first to understand their needs, their goals, and their frustrations before attempting to bring a new solution into the world. I have worked on quite a few different initiatives, deriving a different understanding of my role as an engaged designer at each. I've worked as a usability researcher for the St. Paul Office of Technology and Communications, conducting user tests on their website to assess its accessibility and its understandability, which has reinforced my understanding of the need for constant cyclical feedback and any collaborative relationship. This past semester, for my product design and CESP capstone, I partnered with the University of Minnesota Arboretum's Anderson Horticultural Library to co-create various exhibit designs, which has helped me figure out how to synthesize requirements from various conflicting stakeholders, also an important skill for any relationship with the community. But I want to talk a little bit more about one of the most collaborative projects that I worked on in college, revamping the Design Forward event. Initially, Design Forward was a one-day volunteer event where design students and alumni would go to an organization, which was different every semester, to work on a project for a couple hours, and then they would leave. But this event structure didn't sit quite right with me, as a partnership with the community requires a deep level of trust and understanding, and a long-term impact only comes from long-term collaboration, which is something I learned through the CESP program. So I advocated for transforming Design Forward into an ongoing partnership with Simpson Housing Services. We shifted from a one-time service model to a collaborative long-term effort focused on mutual impact. Simpson Housing Services hosts an event every year called Art for Shelter, where they collect art to auction off at the price of one night of housing for someone in need. The event I organized is an art party where designers can create or drop off a piece of art which is donated to the Art for Shelter event. Right now, the collaboration between Simpson Housing Services and the Design Student and Alumni Board is just beginning, but this new event has now successfully run for 2 years in a row and has sourced over 40 pieces of art. In the future, I hope that the relationships between board members and Simpson constituents will continue to strengthen. All of my experiences trying to figure out how to combine good design and meaningful community engagement have taught me that they share the same foundation: listening deeply, meeting people where they are, and co-creating solutions rather than imposing them. As I prepare to graduate, I'm grateful for how CESP has transformed my understanding of both community engagement and design. I've learned that the most impactful design doesn't happen in isolation, but rather in conversation with the communities we serve. Thank you.
And next, we will hear from Hannah Olson, who will speak on the reflection theme of identities, power, and privilege. In this theme, students are encouraged to consider the question of how do our identities, power, and privilege show up and operate within your life, your community work, and your community engaged learning courses. Hannah.
Hi everyone, and thank you so much for being here. We clearly have a wonderful group of graduates this spring and fall, and I really appreciate all your support for being here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Hannah. I'm a spring 2025 graduate from the BFA acting program here on campus. And it is my honor to speak to you tonight, to share a bit about my experience in CESP and to introduce what I think is maybe one of the most important themes of the program, identities, power, and privilege, or IPP. But before I get into that, I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and the kind of community work that inspires me. As an actor, my job is to tell stories. And I believe in the power of storytelling as a tool for connecting people, personal reflection, and ultimately social change. Theater has shaped who I am. It has helped me find my voice, come out of my shell, and understand the world from different perspectives through stepping into the shoes of characters that are unlike me. Through CESP and through my training in the BFA program, I've learned that performance can be an act of service. It's about serving your audience. It's about giving something of yourself and offering people a moment of truth, a spark of joy, or a sense that they're not alone. And that belief has guided me throughout my artistry over the last few years and throughout my community engagement work. 2 summers ago, and again this summer, I had the opportunity to perform with Open Eyes Driveway Tour program, a traveling children's puppet show designed to bring a wide range of communities together through live performance. Through this experience, I saw firsthand how a simple puppet show could light up a child's imagination and even draw in the row of dads sitting with beers in the back. The driveway tour is grassroots, accessible, joyful, and it reminded me that theater can be a powerful tool for building community. More recently, I created and performed a one-woman show called See the Wolf. This piece weaves together myths, fairy tales, and personal narrative to explore themes of womanhood, safety, and voice. One of the most impactful decisions I made in developing this show was choosing to include my own story. Speaking from my truth, not a character's, not a metaphor's, was terrifying, but it was also liberating. And it's what made my show really resonate with others. That experience showed me how important it is to bring your full self into anything you do, especially in service work. And when we show up authentically with our identities, lived experiences, and stories, we create space for others to do the same. And I think that's when true connection can really start to happen. Which brings me to the theme I'm here to introduce, identities, power, and privilege. This theme asks us to reflect deeply on who we are, how we show up in the world, and how our experiences are shaped by systems much bigger than ourselves individually. It's about recognizing where we hold power and where we don't. It's about understanding how our identities affect the way we interact with others, and it's about learning how to navigate our privileges with humility and care. CESP doesn't just ask you to serve, it asks you to reflect. It asks you to bring your whole self to the table, and I'm grateful for that. Because the more we understand our own identities, the better we can advocate, listen, create, and connect. Congratulations to all my fellow graduates. I can't wait to see where the world takes us. Thank you so much.
Hannah, thank you so much for sharing your story with us and the connection to IPP, especially as it intersects with the arts. I have learned so much from you about how important that is and making sure that kids have access to that. Before we recognize 2 of the 3 sections for the spring CESP 3901 courses, I just want to say a few words. The first few weeks of CESP 3901 are about getting to know each other and beginning to build a community. It was clear to me from the first few weeks of class that all 3 of the spring 2025 sections were going to be filled with great conversations, deepening our understanding of the themes of CESP, and building genuine relationships and connections with each other, which is something we really were feeling on the last day of class. One of the most incredible things that happened this semester was your practicing democracy presentations. The purpose of these presentations was for the students to create a space to share about a social justice topic that was important to them. And also the fall students did this as well. So even with limited instructions, the students far exceeded my expectations of what would come from these presentations. The topics you selected, the knowledge you shared, and the reflective questions you asked us to consider allowed this project to become a highlight of the semester for all of us. The commitment you all have to community engagement and the desire you have to make a difference in the world is truly inspiring. I appreciate each of you and cannot wait to see the positive impact you continue to have on the communities that you are a part of. I now welcome Laurel back to the stage.
So we're now going to recognize the students who were enrolled in Monday and Wednesday sections of the capstone seminar. Thank you, Maddie. Just Monday? Okay. So once again, if you can please, Monday's section, if you could please come forward and line up next to Christopher over here on the right of the stage. After you receive your medal, once again, you will come forward and take a photo with David and Jessica, and then come over here, and then we will have a group photo. So, graduates, Arij Suri. Grace Golder. Lily Kukin. Fazila Mohammed Prem Navaz. And last but not least, Rama Ali Rama. Okay, now we are going to recognize the Wednesday section of 3901. So Wednesday group, come on forward and join us on the far side. So, first we have Kelly Koslov. Mia Van Derzen. Logan Aro. Rachel Sector. Julie Lynn. And Salwa Muhammad. And as they, as the rest of the group moves to the center, please let's give them a round of applause to celebrate. Now we will hear from our final student speaker, Faizeen Ahmed. Faizeen will talk about his community work, in the context of the agency reflection theme. One aspect of CESP is recognizing ourselves as agents of change. You will hear from Faizeen on how he has used his agency to affect issues he cares about in our communities. Faizeen.
Good evening, everyone. It's such an honor to be here today with all my fellow peers and so many people who support us. So my name is Faizeen. I'm graduating this year with a degree in computer science and neuroscience, and I've been involved in the CESP since freshman year. And when I think of the word agency, I think of the word choice, and that comes with a lot of baggage. How we make choices, what impedes us from making choices. But another word that also comes up in this thought process is the word love. And when I think of the word love, I also think of a lot of things. You can tell my mind goes at a high pace. I think about our elementary school crushes. I think about my love for Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. But I also think, yeah, it's kind of a tough time to be a Wolves fan. Hey, but tomorrow, my love will be back. And the last thing that I really think about a lot is community work. As legendary activist and author Grace Lee Boggs put it in her book that I really love, The Next American Revolution, she says that if we want to rectify the inequities that have stained our nation's past, we must be open our hearts to the community around us. We must be ready to listen to our peers, and though we may not agree with their views, we must try to understand through dialogue. In other words, we must learn to love. It is through this courageous act of love that we can grow and empathize and make a community change. I've seen this firsthand working with my organization, Project Blue Star. We work with high schools around the state to develop programs that connect high school students with older adults in their community to address the salient issue of senior loneliness. As I worked with our programs around the state and as I expanded to new communities, I quickly realized that none of this work can be done alone. I've worked with all types of people: immigrants, non-English speakers, veterans, Wolves fans, and Warriors fans at times. And we work together to co-create and build tailored programs despite our differences. Our differences never got in the way of our work because we had love for each other and we had a shared interest in addressing the salient issue. In other words, our love gave us agency to make an impact on the world and our community. Meaningful community work can never be done alone. So I want to end today by asking you a question. Who is on the list of people that you love and have helped you make an impact on the community? And more importantly, on whose list are you? Thank you.
So now I know what I'll be reflecting on this evening when I get home. That was really great. Thank you so much for sharing, Faizine. Next, we are going to hear from Logan Aro, who has agreed to allow us to view their digital story. A digital story serves as our scholars' integration and contextualization reflection, which is the final reflection theme in the program. Through this opportunity, we ask them to look back on their full undergrad experience, their past reflections, their academic experiences, and also their community engagement experiences, both during college and before. Through the Community Engagement Scholars Program, Logan shares how he has learned more about the essence of community work and how he can tie those values to his future career as a special education teacher. His digital story will explore his journey in community work.
I wasn't always the kid who wanted to become a teacher. In fact, I was the kid sent out of class. The one with the angry outbursts, the misunderstood labels, the frustrating silence. But even in this pain, a future seed was planted. I started to build my passion for teaching at a future teacher camp between my freshman and sophomore year of high school. There, people listened, shared. In this space, I felt like I could be myself. I entered college thinking I would become a math teacher. Then I switched to becoming a history teacher. But something was still missing, something more personal. I didn't know what yet. I explored different classes, gravitating toward an unknown passion. I explored different programs and teaching jobs. Freshman year, I became involved in the University YMCA and History Day mentorship. First and foremost, these got me into schools when I wasn't quite yet taking education coursework. The biggest changes to my teaching philosophy came from the community-engaged learning courses that got me involved in the classrooms directly. Here, I learned about the history of public education, and those it benefited and those it pushed away. I will always remember a specific reading that changed my perspective on teaching. Pedagogy of Whiteness in Service Learning shattered my prejudice of what it meant to serve in diverse schools. It brought me face to face with my privilege and allowed for me to take a step back and truly reflect on my aspirations to be a teacher. Fortunately, it created a fire for a stronger passion, which led me to complete a minor in racial justice and urban schooling. These experiences encouraged me to join Breakthrough Twin Cities, a teaching fellowship that prepares underrepresented youth for college. This gave me the ability to test out being a full-time teacher over the summer of 2024. I taught social studies to rising ninth graders and got to create my own curriculum. The more I thought about who I wanted to be there for, the clearer it became. Kids like me. Kids labeled before they're understood. Kids overwhelmed by feelings they can't explain. That's when I committed to teaching special education. My future is working with students with emotional behavior disorders, students who are deemed to have behavioral challenges and social emotional needs. Not all students are the same, but all students need strong advocates. I didn't become a teacher because I had a perfect experience. I became one because I didn't, because I needed an advocate, and now I can be one. To listen when others dismiss, to see when others turn away, to remind every student, you are not too much. You are not alone. You are worth the time it takes to understand you. Teaching isn't just my career. It's my way of giving back, of healing, of growing into something better. Because I wasn't seen, I see now more clearly than ever. That's the teacher I'm becoming. That's who I needed. And that's who I will be.
Logan, thank you so much for letting us watch your video publicly with everybody. I know that you have to be brave to do that. I just want to say again, I said this in class when you showed your video the first time, but I wish you had been one of my teachers. I needed an educator like you, and you were going to go on to impact so many young lives. I can't wait to see and hear about that in the future. I also have to say to everyone else, can you imagine our last day of class is watching these videos? Woo, it is like, It's emotional, it's inspiring. I know I've heard that some families have had the opportunity to watch the videos. I encourage you, scholars, if you feel inspired to do so, to share these with your friends and family. Each and every one of you created a story that was incredible to see in your digital story. Okay, I now welcome Laurel back to the stage, and we're going to recognize our Friday group.
Same drill, Friday group. Can I have you all please come up to the far side of the stage here? And stand by Christopher. Once again, you will, as your name is read, you will move forward to receive your certificate and medal, take a photo, and then come over here and hang out until we can take the group photo. And so our first student in this section is actually not here tonight with us, but Jacksari Menzin Kamo. But moving on to who we have in the room. Emily Lorsch. Emily Lorsch. Faizeen Ahmed. Haley Lewis. Abigail Norris. Rayhan Rahim. Runa Al Hassan. Mahia Jain. Timberlyn Majakis. We'll also mention that we had Lachia Vang and the Linnea Sanisrath Simbana in this section who are unable to be with us today. We can take one round of applause. Thank you so much. Okay, so now I am going to invite Jess Proskin back to the stage to share a few remarks and do a few special recognitions.
While we're getting this pulled up, I will invite Amber, Julie, and Haley to come up over by the table here. Awesome. So I asked these three to come up here for a minute. We have something that is called the CESP Leaders Board. The CESP Leaders Board is a student board, so a group of students who helps to run the CESP program. Let me give you these so Maddie can take some pictures. And then I'll come over there. What I want to say quickly about these three students is, in addition to everything that we have talked about today, the 400 hours of community engagement, the classes that they're already in, the reflections that they write, all of these things, these students, and this is 3 of the 5 students who were on the board this year, these students have all committed to being on this board with the goal of making the program better, of planning events, creating community, and wanting to get more students engaged in the program and know what this program is so we can get more students at the U involved. I appreciate so much the time that you all have dedicated to the Leaders Board. I'm gonna miss you all so much. All of these students are graduating. And I'm gonna come over really quick and give you all a hug. Congratulations.
Okay. In a moment, I'm going to invite Dr. David Wirtz to join us at the stage, but for a few remarks from me. As you graduate, let me remind you that being here today means you have persevered through a lot, yet you have figured out ways to contribute in meaningful ways to our communities. As Clarissa Pinoca SD states, ours is not the task of fixing the entire world all at once, but of stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. Any small, calm thing that one soul can do to help another soul, to assist some portion of this poor, suffering world, will help immensely. Margaret Wheatley, author of many books I love, including the one Perseverance, states, throughout human existence, there have always been people willing to step forward to struggle valiantly in the hope that they might reverse the downward course of events. Getting engaged in changing things is quite straightforward. If we have an idea or want to resolve an injustice or stop a tragedy, we step forward to serve. Instead of being overwhelmed and withdrawing, we act. No grand actions are required. We just need to begin speaking up about what we care about. This is how the world always changes. Every day, people are not waiting for someone else to fix things, but simply stepping forward, figuring out how to make things better. As you graduate and move on with your lives, I hope you will each take the lessons of success and failure you've had as valuable learning experiences to continue to make your communities a better place. For other human beings and the planets and animals that make up our environmental ecosystem. David, if you could join us to share a few closing remarks, and then I will say one last thing. David Wirtz. Okay, David Wirtz. Now
Well, good evening. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here and for the excitement of an event like tonight. I think about during the year, different milestones we have. what could be better at the end of the year when the tulips are coming up? We got all of this great information and excitement that people have about what they've accomplished. And so it's really a thrill to be here. I'm going to thank the staff, Laurel and the group, one more time. Can we thank them for their hard work this year and for this event? And I'm going to be very brief because it stands between me and a beautiful night here to get out on the patio or wherever you might go. But one thing I want to say was amazing is just the people we met tonight and the stories that people had. Who knew that I would meet my future dentist? Where is he? Or Amber, our agricultural future lawyer, Lily in design, Hannah in acting, Faizine, computer science and neuroscience, and a message of love. It was awesome. I love that. And one of the things that Laurel asked me to do is just kind of on the fly summarize what I take away from tonight. And so kind of did that as I was sitting taking notes. And what I really observed when I heard from all of you and just the messaging about the year is looking at how all of you are living out what it means to be fully human. And that is this broader idea of what might be called human flourishing. And to take some of Faizine's pieces here, the idea is that the ultimate end, maybe, of our human life is to love others. And that's a perspective that comes alongside of the perspectives that you've learned today and other, throughout the year. And that we come maybe fully equipped to do that. And that we are like a seed in agriculture, that we're formed to be maybe a sunflower, but in the end, we are really formed to love others in that tradition. And so what does this take? And what did I hear from all of you when I was taking notes? I heard a list of development of people's own virtues that they developed over the last year and how they developed in thinking about their work with communities. So some of the words I heard immediately were around dreams, right? Sacrifice, perseverance, heard the word purpose a few times. Humility was stated. Listening was talked about. Acts of service and joy. Agency, choice, love, and learning to love others, even those who you might disagree with. And what I would just conclude with, as I learned from all of you tonight, is this is what a flourishing life is. And that is to live these virtues, to be fully human, to love and care for others. And through this program, you are developing those ways of thinking and knowledge and in service to others. And we're all very proud to be a part of this university that cares about these things. So I'm thankful for everyone for their participation this year, and I want to congratulate you all again, and really excited to see where you will all go in the future. So enjoy your night. And can I say ski uma? I'm not usually up here on the chair, but congratulations and go Gophers. And good night.
Okay, thank you, David. Our professor in the room. Thank you again. This concludes today's program. We are very grateful for you, to you for joining us today to celebrate these wonderful, amazing graduates. And we wish them all the best of luck in their next chapters as they continue to engage in community work in the future. Please, there's more food out there, more beverages, help yourselves. There's also, there's these lovely flowers around the room at the various tables. If speakers, students, graduates, feel free to grab one of the plants on your way out. And then I also would like to ask the entire group of graduating students if you can join Maddie for a large group photo back out on the annex in the far end. We would love it to have a large group photo. So once again, thank you everyone.